Hey there everybody. In my hot little hands, I have a little bucket of water, and it's not a very full bucket of water, but I have a little bucket of water, and I have my hori hori, even though I'm pretty sure I'm not going to need it. And today we're going to do something nice. We're making our way over to the purple flowering raspberry, which I promised I would provide an update on. And here is my update. We have gotten our first flower, and they are gorgeous. I'm going to zoom in for you because, oh my gosh. Look at those petals just being beautiful. All the little pistils and stamens. Look at them. Oh, we're losing focus. Okay. Okay, so anyway, here we are. We are concerned with down at the base of this plant. And we have a few more little suckers that I had mentioned thinking about pulling up and putting elsewhere. And so at the moment, we're gonna do that. First thing I'm gonna do is stick this in the ground. Some of you might be thinking to yourselves, that seems a little far away to be effective. It's not for me, it's for you. But also, it was quite a strain to get this into the ground. Even if I bear down, we are just not making much progress at all. So what I'm going to do is then show you something different. Now that you all are loaded up on that garden fork, we are ready to actually get into the meat and potatoes of this. So I don't have potatoes down here, but with our mulching practices and our deep deposition and then letting sort of our anchor plants kind of pump some material into the soil, these areas have become much darker. And it's still sandy, but the soil is much darker and is much more easily dug into. And so I don't even necessarily think I'm going to need the hori hori for this, just because of how easy it is to put my fingers into the soil here. And so all I'm going to do is just kind of come from behind this and just sort of lift it out. And we got a little worm here. Our worm friend seems to be not very fast at all, so I'm not really concerned about them, except I hope that they are willing to forgive our intrusion on their day. And so I'm just kind of exploring down the root, looking for where I can separate. And so we'll get this really nice root structure here, which is going to help this when we transplant it. And what we're doing is just sticking these little friends into our little bucket of water so that they are a little bit happier while I'm getting out the rest of their friends. We have another little worm. This grass root doesn't need to be here. And this is all intertwined with that dirt, so we'll just keep it, stick it in our pot of water. Okay, so it is getting warmer. The bead of sweat on my face is probably evidence of that. And we are now walking down the street with a shovel and a bucket full of water and some purple flowering raspberries. And at this point, you might be wondering, well, that seems like something you normally do. And you'd be right. You would all be right. I I do a lot of digging up and transplanting and then trying out things. But I've talked before on the channel about my friend who lives down further on my street, and she's on a trip. Her and her husband's anniversary was recent, and they have a new camper, and so they're out enjoying themselves. And I had planted some purple flowering raspberry hardwood cuttings, which we discussed on a prior video. Did not have any successes. I am including my neighbor's plants in the calculation of a 0% success rate and a 100% failure rate. And so while she's gone and I am watching her birds, I'm going to do a little replacement planting on her, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so all I've done since getting over to my friend's property is removed the cuttings from the spots that we had designated for these raspberries, in line with several of her other raspberries that have been successful. And so each of those little bare spots of upturned earth are where she has already accepted and wanted her raspberries placed. And all I'm doing is replacing dead ones that I gave her with some live ones that I've also given her. She turned down my offer of replacement, saying that I needed to take care of my business, but if money was the only driver of this project, I would very quickly lose interest and probably never have any passion. So let's get these in the ground. We've got our hole full of native soil. I've made no amendments to it, and we're going to take really the good looking ones and the ones with a little bit of root to them. So here is the one that I am sticking in this hole. And my plan is to just kind of excavate away some of the dirt and stick this down to about this point on the stem here, because that is roughly where the transition from soil to plant happened in our garden. And so I'd like to keep it roughly at the same depth. But I am going to need 2 hands to do this also. We'll check back in just a moment. First one down. 2 more to go. All right, so the third one is in, and you can kind of see it is a little sad, a little worse for wear. So we've buried them back in. She has a little wood chip pile over here that I'm going to dip into to just give these all a little bit more mulch, and we'll water them in. And yeah, fail, I'm going to replace them again. And hopefully, by the time she returns, they will have taken root and started rebounding beautifully for her. So let me get all of that situated, and we'll just kind of wrap up. All right, so we've given them a really nice drink. They had a nice little 2-gallon bucket, and so each of these got a little bit under 2 gallons to really settle the roots, release some of the air pockets, and pack the soil densely around their roots. And then I came over the top, I added a little bit of her wood chip that has been in a pile for 2 years, I think, at this point, maybe more. And you can see just how finely some of this has begun breaking down. And so we just added that in a small little ring. I don't want to eat through all of her wood chip because, I mean, not that I can't replace the wood chips, but that's hers, and she's been working on aging them for a while, so I'll leave most of it to her. But each of these got a good drink and a nice little pad of mulch around them, and we are looking at the potential for some rainstorms a little later today. And so I'll check in with these when I come back to check on her birds before they go away for the night, and we'll just kind of monitor this, and hopefully they will take off for her in a way that the previous round didn't. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing as an anniversary present, belatedly, for some dear friends of mine while they are away on a trip and not suspecting me of doing this. If you want to do something like this, definitely definitely discuss it with your neighbor first. This is not something I would do if she was like, no, I really don't want those plants. So this is me replacing plants that I gave her, and in the places where she had wanted them, just as a little surprise for when she gets home. So if you watched this, miss, before you came home and discovered it, I am going to be lightheartedly cranky at you. But for the rest of you, I hope you watched this. I hope it was a little bit fun to see another site that I am encouraging the owners of to kind of replicate some of the successes we've had on our site, and advising them of some of the shortcomings and failures we've had so as to make their path smoother. So, till next time, thanks for watching. Happy planting.